Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a discussion on Ukraine. I hope you find it all of interest and relevance and that you'll be motivated afterwards to get involved with the network. So a quick show of hands. How many of you have already heard of Ukraine? How many of you know something about it? Okay, so we've got a very, very small number of people. So, right, that's good. That means there's lots that I can tell you, and hopefully I'll get it all across in 20 minutes with 10 minutes for questions. So, I should also point out, I'm here to also give a perspective from industry, from the Rail Supply Group and from RIA. And that I want to be the really important central theme of what I talk about in regards to Ukraine, which is that it's really important that it's industry-led and industry-driven, and it's a partnership between industry and academia. That's really important central tenets for Ukraine, as I'll call it from now on. So, just to start, back to basics, R&D and innovation. Obviously, our sector, R&D and innovation, hugely important in how we develop our solutions, our processes, our products to take to market for the benefit of our customers. So just remembering, on the R&D side, of course, the power and the value of knowledge and technology, and innovation is then actually taking that knowledge and using it practically to bring to market. And also a nod to those outcomes. And I know the Secretary of State was here at InfraRail yesterday, and I suspect that a number of you have heard a number of pronouncements from politicians, particularly transport politicians, around what the role of transport is and the importance of the rail sector in terms of what it can actually deliver from a politician's perspective. And that's those outcomes, the growth, economic growth, productivity, efficiency, market share, business value, profitability, product lifecycle, reliability, all of those things can be direct benefits by us having more effective and a greater amount of R&D and a greater amount of innovation activity in our sector. So just to do a little bit of history. In 2016, some of you may know about the Rail Supply Group sector strategy. Hands up, anyone who's read that? I'm not surprised about the low numbers there. I'll give you that. But and that was a great document. That was a really, and I do speak with bias, obviously, but that was a really important document because that set out a unified view from the rail sector of what it wanted to achieve, how it wanted to develop itself. So we were, as a sector, taking control of our own destiny. And there were 4 priority work areas within there. So creating the market conditions for growth. Obviously, issues around procurement and pipeline spring to mind straight away, and I'm sure you all have stories to tell around the importance of that area. Around people and skills, and that's obviously a very hot topic, and it's great to see a number of organisations here involved in developing the skills base within and around the rail sector. Technology and innovation, and you won't be surprised that, of course, that's the area of focus today. And export growth as well. So the UK rail sector is not exporting as effectively as it could do. So I see that as a huge latent opportunity waiting for our sector to get more involved in. And that's where you can also provide significant valuable support to our sector. And of course, that innovation was an explicit target throughout the sector strategy. So that's the key part, innovation to help UK companies develop, demonstrate and commercialise new technologies. And within that were 2 initiatives that we identified. So this is 2 years ago, early 2016, we launched the strategy. One was around the 5 key technology areas, which were customer experience, energy management, advanced control, whole life asset optimization through life management, and high value rolling stock systems. So they're the 5 key technology areas within the sector strategy. And it was around developing a network of centres of excellence across government, universities, and we said business growth incubators, let's say wider involvement throughout the sector, from academia all the way through to delivery. That sense of excellence was a clear, demonstrable initiative that RSG wanted to see happen, and that's how Ukraine came about. I just also note, though, we also said another initiative was to transform testing facilities in the UK, and I'll come on to that in a second. So, again, coming back to that whole point around partnership, this was very much around a partnership between the Rail Supply Group on behalf of the wider rail industry and around academia coming together to form a partnership across 16 industrial partners, Rail Industry Association one of those, and 8 universities to develop this world-class centres of excellence for R&D and supporting rail innovation in rail, as well as supporting developing R&D. And we submitted a bid for funding to government. Now, this was particularly important because it actually required it was a 1/3 of the value comes from government, 2/3 had to be match funded by industry. So we pulled together a £92 million bid, and that really gives you a sense of perspective as to the commitment that those industrial partners were making to developing R&D and innovation activity in the UK rail sector. And I'm pleased to say we won. So £28.1 million was granted by the Higher Education Funding Council for England, which is part of the Department of Business, to develop these centres of excellence. That was confirmed last year. Just a shout out to all the industry supporters there. These people are contractually committed to supporting Ukraine. Now, that does not mean it's a closed shop. But what it does mean is that these people that we as universities are very grateful towards and who have started the ball rolling. But Ukraine is not a closed shop, and Ukraine is not, it is not static. So we want new members to come in. The universities are open already for business in their areas of influence and effectiveness. What we want to see is more R&D coming and better facilities that have better accessibility for the wider rail sector in the UK, and particularly to SMEs who will have greater need or greater benefit from working in collaboration with academia. So I used to work for Alstom until 3 weeks ago, and as you would expect, an OEM the size of Alstom, a lot of it's done in-house. We have huge amounts of R&D spend and huge amounts of R&D specialists, but a lot of work is done with academia as well. So as you can see, you've got the full range of support there across the sector, and we want to see more people getting on board. So what would you be getting on board to? So this is the network of centres of excellence. So to start off with digital systems, hosted by us at the University of Birmingham. That's a very broad brush description, and we don't go into too much detail purposely. But the areas we have particular expertise in are around railway operations and control systems and simulation, around instrumentation, around remote condition monitoring, around data integration and cybersecurity, and also around introducing innovation as well. That's one particular area that we got a lot of positive industry feedback saying, all right, it's all very well and good having this pure R&D expertise, but the actual process of innovating, we want support with. We want universities to assist in that as well. So we also house that at the University of Birmingham, and we're building a new centre for digital systems, which will come on stream in 2 years' time. And it will truly be a world-class facility for companies to come and collaborate with us or to work on their own, but make use of our facilities. We have a Centre of Excellence in Infrastructure, so that's hosted predominantly by University of Southampton. And they're currently building a national infrastructure laboratory, which is part of a separate but related project with government support. Their laboratory opens next year, and it's a fantastic-looking facility. Universities of Sheffield, Nottingham, Heriot-Watt and Loughborough are also partners, bringing different capabilities to the mix. Centre of Excellence in Rolling Stock, hosted at the University of Huddersfield, who are buying a significant amount of top-quality new kit and equipment to support their research and development activities, alongside Newcastle and Loughborough. And then the fourth centre, a non-academic centre, is a Centre of Excellence for Testing. And that's the two Network Rail RIDICs, Research Innovation Development Centres at Tuxford and Melton. Then Quinton Rail Technology Centre are also a partner, and Transport for London as well. So we've got the whole gamut there, hopefully, of capabilities. And this isn't a closed shop either. So we welcome more industrial partners joining Ukraine. There is also space for additional capabilities to join the network, either as new centres of excellence in different but related disciplines, or as associate partners providing additional capability in specific areas. An example of that might be, say, around additional energy systems capability, working across the existing centres. So what is Ukraine? I've talked a lot about it, but haven't actually nailed what we're about. And this is our mission statement. Ukraine is designed to create a powerful collaboration. See, that word collaboration is really important in this, between academia and industry, aiming to provide a step change in innovation in the sector, in the rail sector, and to accelerate new technologies and products from research into market application. And you'll often hear around the technology readiness levels. 1 to 3 is the research side, the concept stage. 4 to 6, the famous Valley of Death, where we go through for prototyping, piloting, through to TRL 7 to 9, where we're actually talking around the commercialization. And really, Ukraine is here to support across every part of those, all three of those parts of the process. but very much around 4 to 6 in particular, given that's the area of particular need, as industry have told us. And I think an interesting, or rather a key part, or perhaps different word, an analogy might be to consider us as a catapult for rail. And we're certainly working with people like the Transport Systems Catapult in terms of how we go about making a real impact to benefit UK rail sector and industry specifically. So, jumping across, let's go back. You don't want to miss the photo. You might recognise some of those people, you might not want to. But we launched in 20th of February in Parliament, and you have my boss, Professor Clive Roberts, who runs the academic part of the Birmingham Centre of Railway Research and Education. So he looks after digital systems. So from the left, that's Simon Iwanicki from the University of Huddersfield, who leads on rolling stock. Jo Binstead, who's Head of Innovation at Siemens Rail Systems. She's the chair of the steering group for Ukraine, and that steering group's very important, and that sets the direction, the content, the capabilities, the workflow that Ukraine does across all of the partners, but driven very much by industry. In the middle, you've got the Rail Minister, Joe Johnson, then Clive, looking after digital, and at the end you've got William Powery from University of Southampton, lead for infrastructure. So what can Ukraine do for you? There's a key thing. So those facilities, those world-class facilities, that's a fundamental part. So we have great minds, great academic capability across the universities, and we need the world-class facilities to go with that, to go with those skills, to have the most helpful, the most usable, the most approachable R&D and innovation capability and support to help you as industry develop your businesses, to get more products, solutions to market, to make the UK rail sector stronger. And those industrial partners really are key in terms of steering what academic capability should look like, what the R&D direction of travel should be. And so that's, in fact, I'll jump onto that in a second. Of course, a key part is linking into the wider landscape within which we all work. So you may be aware of the industrial strategy, a government document setting out the key priorities for the UK economy and how sectors like rail can play their part. And indeed, you may have heard from Anna Del Vecchio yesterday, who's putting together the rail sector deal, of the role and relevance of R&D in developing a more digitalised railway for the UK and a capability that we can export. Likewise, the picture on the right is the 12 work streams that are in the rail technical strategy, I beg your pardon. And again, that's key because that's the industry view, the sector view on what is the direction for railway technology, where should R&D be focused. And again, it's tying together what industry wants with what the capability is doing in the UK and making sure we're all working to the same agenda ultimately, because there are many, many strategies. And if we can try and make sure we're all focusing on the same parts of the same ones, we've got a much better chance of success. And so back to what can do for you. So these centres of excellence, we're here to serve, we're here to work with industry, we're here to help industry develop and grow. We all want the same goal. We all want a thriving UK rail sector. We want a thriving market. We want more exports. And we want to be delivering world-leading products and solutions to the global rail market. And that's what the Centre of Excellence is going to do. So we're going to provide you with the R&D and innovation support and capability to put the UK rail sector as #1 on the world stage. I must have a really heavy thumb because I keep jumping the slides here, so I will get to the one. Here we are, 4 objectives. So hopefully this will set out very clearly what we can do for you. We want to support and build rail sector capability and capacity to develop, deliver, commercialise new technologies, to bring them to market quickly and to bring them to market effectively and successfully. We want to deliver a step change in investment in rail innovations. We want R&D budgets to grow. We want to demonstrate their value. And that can be done ultimately by showing how much more you can commercialise through effective R&D. And hopefully that should provide real business commercial benefit to all of you. And that's across our research and our testing centres. We want to improve rail productivity and performance. And again, the role of innovation in delivering that, in delivering efficiencies, in delivering product life cycle improvement, those outcomes I mentioned earlier. We want to develop those new strategic relationships, particularly with SMEs in the supply chain. We want this capability, we want it to be more used, much better used, much more frequently used by industry to take advantage of the capability on your doorsteps. And as I said, the strong links to industry are key. So we want to be relevant. It's really important. The academics are hugely important in the capability they provide, but they need steering. And so people like me are here to help you to navigate that and to ideally get you in front of and access to the capability that's going to help you get more success. And so really, sum up in a roadmap where we are going, our direction of travel. We obviously got these new facilities, new Centre of Excellence Digital at Birmingham, new equipment going into Huddersfield and Newcastle, a big chunk of the new National Infrastructure Laboratory at Southampton. But we're seeing new partnerships. I go back to that slide earlier with all of those industry partners. That was a great example of the rail sector working together with a bunch of mutual shared interest, which is we recognise if we work together to support R&D capability and investment in that in the UK rail sector for the good of all of us, we will all benefit as a result of that because, for example, we can show to government that we are speaking with one voice, that we have a shared goal, and that's actually demonstrated to government that we are a strong sector and we're worth supporting. And that's why you're seeing initiatives like the rail sector deal very likely going to come about that will bring real advantage to the whole of our sector in the coming months and years. And obviously, I suppose, the last 3 points are fairly self-evident. We obviously want to see more R&D and better R&D. We want to see better and more collaboration. We want to ultimately have a much stronger knowledge base and capability base that will see more people investing in the UK rail industry, ideally attracting talent and investment from overseas, as well as from more UK-based companies, so that we can build our capability, we can build the capacity we offer for R&D to your businesses, and hopefully provide more innovation, which will deliver a stronger industry. So it seems quite simple, really, but there's obviously a lot more to it than that. So I'm here to take questions, and I know I finished on time as well. So
you're spot on. Well done, Alex. Brilliant. That train arrived on time. So a fantastic opportunity here to get some questions into Alex about how this centre is going to operate and how you can engage with it. So have we got any takers for this? Okay. Could you tell us who you are, please? And
Jenny Cook, Chair of the Rail Engineers Forum. So I'm all about knowledge transfer, and I wondered whether you could tell us a bit about how we're going to get all the good stuff that you're doing into the hands of the engineers who want to apply it.
The perfect opening question, really, isn't it? So obviously we've got our first communications channels open: website, Twitter, email address. We are just open for business, so we went live at the start of April. And the important thing, first of all, is that all the university capability already exists. What we're trying to do is simplify the channel for accessing the university capability, and we're trying to focus the universities on being more open to receiving questions and working in a more commercially, it sounds very optimistic, so to get the academics to work in a more commercially focused manner in terms of how they focus their research, how they focus their research strategies. And a big part of this is going to be around how we work with specific individual companies, and we are going to need people to come to us and say, we need help, we're interested in this, we want to pick your brains on that. And so we are doing things like this. We are reaching out to industry. We're speaking to as many fora as possible, ideally yours too directly, to say this is what UCRIN's about. Now, in terms of actually, you don't buy access to UCRIN. You can come and talk to us at any point. You can approach me, the team, the group directly. We work across RSSB, across RIA, across the universities. And what we offer is really we are the gatekeepers. So we will take in on your problems. We'll listen to what you want to achieve, and we'll try and work out what capability is best suited to supporting your ambitions. In terms of reaching into individual businesses to engineers, well, I haven't written the engagement program yet for UCRIN, but I can certainly say a number of things. So obviously, like I said, we're out talking, we're out listening. You can reach us through Twitter, through the website, through email, and we are open to speaking opportunities as well. And what I think would be really useful, we would obviously love to come out and meet your engineering teams directly. And I think ultimately the best way is if we can find out your areas of interest, we can get our academics to come and meet, and hopefully in that collaborative open environment we can find some interesting projects.
Okay, might it be an idea, Alex, to introduce Rob, who's going to be working with you, and who's
That's
known
a great
to lots of
idea.
SMEs.
What a fantastic idea. So introducing Rob Hopkins from
Rob?
the Rail Alliance. Do you want to tell us about yourself? What you're up to?
Yeah, I'm up to behaving myself at the moment, but it's a great opportunity for me. For those of you who know me know that I've come from the Rail Alliance.
You're still there, aren't you?
I'm still. Oh yes, hang on. Oh no, I've changed my job.
Okay.
And so, leading the Rail Alliance for 10 years has been a joy and a privilege, but also I've always had a hankering to get back to the academic side of life. I am no academic, you'll be delighted to know, but I might yet become one. But the point is that I bring that business focus and that focus for performance and increased value that the supply chain really can deliver, but does need some help, encouragement, and people here, you are the folk that can do that. And as part of that outreach work from the university, and when I say the university, I don't necessarily mean the University of Birmingham, I mean the universities, and long may that expand in life, but though that whole network of positive, dare I say, energy going out into our sector to make it better. So I'm looking forward on 1st of June, officially, but actually 14th of May, that's it, 14th of May, I joined the team, looking forward to working with Alex, who couldn't, and it's going to be a joy and a blast, and if any of you want any help at all about how you can get your business as part of our effort, we'd be delighted to hear from you.
You didn't say your role, what you're going to be doing.
Oh, sorry, yes, I'll be looking at the education development, so that's looking at our current courses, not just within Birmingham University, but also across Ukraine, partners, but also looking at how we can develop those at the point of need. So not everybody needs a PhD, but some people probably do need something that's equivalent to 2 or 3 hours worth of CPD, which is focused. So going from one extreme to the other, that's what we will be looking at, and looking at sort of federated ways of learning, different ways of getting you better prepared for the future for our railway. So that's what we'll be doing, but we'll also be looking for research out there, testing, validation, verification, all aspects of that journey.
Good. I think we've got time for one more question. So, David Clark of RIA.
So, Alex, do you think there's any parallels or lessons we can learn from other industries? And I'm leading the witness here. So, how successful has this been for the automotive industry or the aerospace industry over the past 10 years? Because I don't think we can conceive of the possibilities here in the rail industry.
What an excellent question. And it wasn't planted either, even more impressively. So hopefully a number of you will probably be aware of the huge success automotive and aviation have had. And that's not been by accident. So in both of their respective sectors, there's been a very much a strong collaborative industry focus that has said, look, we can see the value of investing in R&D collectively, and we think you, government, should acknowledge what we're doing and look at how actually what we're doing supports your policy objectives. So, upping the skills base, making the UK an attractive place to invest, obviously creating jobs, creating economic growth. So they've flipped the challenge back to government with their heavy investments and said, we want you to see you come to the table as well. And that's seen a number of significant successes come about. So, for example, you think of what they call the manufacturing MTC in Coventry, the advanced manufacturing catapults, the AMRC. I can remember the acronyms, but I can't remember what they all stand for. But you're seeing these collaborative responses where government money has worked with industry to reap significant rewards. And we as a rail sector have not been able to do that until recently. And it's great to see that a project like this will hopefully emulate the joy that automotive and aviation have had in terms of creating real economic value, creating jobs, creating export strength, creating skills base. And they've really upped their game, and they've reaped the rewards for it, and that's exactly what we need to do. And like I said earlier, by demonstrating as an industry we can work well collectively, we can also take that challenge to government and say, well, what are you going to do to work with us? What are you going to answer the challenges that we have, and help us to actually optimise this growth, to optimise this investment, to make a really positive difference to the industry and to the UK.
If I can just add to that, oil and gas are looking at something very similar industry in many ways, quite risk averse, quite very safety critical, technologically austere, you could argue in some aspects. No appetite for sensors, telemetry, not even Wi-Fi on the rigs. No point, because your phone wouldn't work because it's not intrinsically safe. But they've set up something called the Oil and Gas Technology Centre in Aberdeen, and they've been going for about a year now, and I've been working with them. And some of the things that they've already got out on rigs now working, where the contractors and the operators wouldn't even have thought of, like robotics. So why put people in harm's way to go and check pressure vessels, or even asset management, when you can put a self-climbing robot that can go up the derrick, check everything's okay, and that's happening now. And they've done that in less than 9 months. So that's a sea change of thought, if you like. So we're looking forward to the same aspects.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Any other questions? It's a great opportunity. Or you're all waiting to catch Alex and Rob afterwards. Okay, all right. We will wrap at that and say thank you very much, Alex and Rob.
Thank you.